Falcons fans, I promise you, one of these days I'm going to have good news for you. Unfortunately, it is not today. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's at-home episode, it is my day off. Got the push notification from like 3 or 4 separate Atlanta Falcons beat reporters that are all saying the exact same thing. Billy Bowman Jr. has officially injured his Achilles at practice, and the only thing that Raheem Morris would tell us is that it is quote-unquote not good. I don't even know where to begin with this team. It is just one bad thing after the other. I honestly don't know how it can get much worse. I really don't. And I'm going to knock on wood when I say that, because this has got to be the most unlucky team I have ever seen. But it goes beyond that. Billy Bowman Jr. is an excellent player. And in today's episode, I'm going to break down who he is as a player, what we've seen from him so far, and ultimately why this is an indictment on the coaching staff. Let's start with the positives here, if there are any. Billy Bowman Jr. is one hell of a player, right? He goes from safety at Oklahoma, gets drafted by the Falcons, and is now starting at nickel corner. And he's a much bigger nickel corner. He's got that length, that speed that you're looking for. He is like a hybrid defensive back if I've ever seen one. And one of the things that I didn't give him nearly enough credit for this year was his ability to not only adapt to that position, but also his closeout ability this year has just been sensational. I mean, his ability to, when a player catches the ball, for him to close in on the wide receiver and make a tackle is, it looks like a seasoned veteran. So he gets a lot of credit for the way that he's adapted to this nickel corner position. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, we were all kind of shitting on D. Alford, and rightly so. I thought there was a lot of plays and going back to last year where D. Alford was just not nearly good enough. And then I manned up. I said, hey, I got to give credit where credit is due. D. Alford has definitely come through and shown that he is a at least rotational piece for the Atlanta Falcons at corner, whether that be outside or at the nickel position. So I do believe that D. Alford has earned another spot on the Falcons next year as a rotational piece. But my God, can we just stop with the injuries? I mean, Drake London has battled injuries. Darnell Mooney battling injuries. Divine Diablo is coming back, but he was on short-term IR. Billy Bowman has dealt with injuries earlier this year. And now it looks like, worst case scenario, it's a torn Achilles. And you just hope and pray that next year around this time, he's good enough to suit up. And best case scenario, you're looking at a really bad sprained ankle. Like really bad, maybe a high ankle sprain that'll keep him out regardless for another few weeks. So we can hope for the best, plan for the worst. Isn't that the old adage, is that, you know, you hope for the best, but prepare for the worst? I just don't know how much longer we can continue to defend this coaching staff. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. Moose, there is no blame on the coaching staff for all of the injuries. A lot of these are freak injuries, but I will say this. Look at all the other top-tier organizations in the NFL. The Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, the Los Angeles Rams. They are not dealing with nearly the amount of injuries that the Atlanta Falcons are dealing with. Period. Because practice habits and strength and conditioning is all baked into your coaching plan. So I don't know what's going on at Atlanta Falcons practice. I don't know what's going on in their day-to-days or how they do their walkthroughs or how they train. But I can tell you this. For teams that have a lot of injuries, and I'll give you the perfect example, the San Francisco 49ers, they don't allow those injuries to affect their performances on the field. Kyle Shanahan continues to win football games. Now, he might not win 12 or 13 games because of injuries, but he'll damn well win 9 or 10. So at some point, I have to ask myself, is every single injury that we're seeing this year just dumb luck? Or is it at least some part on the preparation and the day-to-day execution of the coaching staff? And that's all of the coaches. I have defended Jeff Ulbrich at every single turn. But at some point, You've got to make adjustments so that your players aren't getting hurt. Period. I cannot continue to just give you guys all this bad news. It does take a toll on your enjoyment. I understand that. So I just look at this and I go, at what point does Terry Fontenot or Arthur Blank or hell, even Rich McKay, at what point does anybody just sack up and say enough is enough? We've got to figure something out. We've got to make a change. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to do it. At least not until the end of the season. Why? God knows. Hell, the New York Giants are a dumpster fire of an organization. And they got rid of their head coach, who I thought wasn't even that big of a problem. I mean, sure, he is a problem. Ultimately, he's the head coach. But that defensive coordinator over there in New York, he's an idiot. Their GM, he's also stupid. Joe Shane. So, look, I don't want to make this an entire episode about shitting on the coaches. I know they're bad. You know they're bad. This is more about the players. And that's kind of what I want to at least get across to you here moving forward with the team and with the state of the channel as it is right now. We are going to be primarily focusing on player development for the remainder of the year. Because I can only talk so much about the coaching staff. I can only give you guys so many fire Raheems, fire Zachs, and at this point, I don't even know how safe Jeff Ulbricht's job is. I really don't. And that's not me saying I'm clamoring for him to be let go. But if bad things keep happening, somebody's going to start asking questions about Ulbricht as well. I'm at the point now where I need something to feel good about. And I guess the things to feel good about right now are the pass rushers. And that's another thing. Speaking of Billy Bowman, who this entire episode is kind of centered around, he was unbelievable as a blitzer. Because of his big nature, because of his big frame, and the way he plays big too. He would come off of those like corner blitzes and just wreak havoc in the backfield. He was so gifted at playing aggressively and being a pressure corner at the line of scrimmage as well. So I wish him a very speedy recovery. I do hope that we see him on this field sooner rather than later, and I do hope that this injury is nothing serious. But the only thing that Raheem Morris said was, quote unquote, it's not good. Well, if that's all you're going to tell me, Raheem, I'm going to assume that means he's probably facing a torn Achilles. And anybody that has seen that injury before knows that it's a 9 to 12 month recovery period. So you might not see Billy Bowman on the field until around this time next year, if that's the worst case scenario. Again, I'm not speculating. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But I have seen torn Achilles before. And if that's the case, if that's the injury, then that's what you're looking at. It's just... We got Kirk Cousins starting. We got no Drake London. We got Darnell Mooney as our primary one. I mean, I guess the other bright spot is the run game, Bijan and Tyler Algier, but they can only take you so far. You got a rivalry week this week. It's the Saints. Let's go Dirty Birds, obviously. We always want our team to win, and I would love to see a win. That's another thing. If we get a win, I almost kind of just will shut out all the negatives, at least for a moment, and just focus on the win. So I'm actually rooting for a win more so this week than probably any of the last couple of weeks that we've watched Atlanta Falcons football. And it's not like it's going to help in the draft unless after the season ends, you go out and actually try to execute an off-season trade. And maybe you get a couple of extra draft picks. Maybe that's the plan. But we do know that Raheem and Terry and Arthur Blank, they all seem to have the same opinion right now, and that is there might be a quarterback change next year as well. So for the news right now, again, we'll update you as you go. If I get more information for you, I'll pin a comment. At the time of this recording, we have no idea what the severity of the injury is, but we do know that Billy Bowman sustained an Achilles injury during practice today ahead of the Saints game in NFL Week 12. This is, of course, why you subscribe. I'm going to break it down for you every single day, no matter what the time of the day, no matter if I'm chilling at home. I was actually in the middle of playing a little bit of NCAA 2026, as you can see the Texas A&M flag. I'm not a huge Texas A&M fan. My brother goes to Texas A&M, and this is actually his room. And I'm borrowing it for recording space right now while my office is being used currently. So that's why I've got the Texas A&M flag in the background here. But again, this is exactly why you subscribe. Make sure you drop a like on today's video. Let me know how you're feeling right now if you're a Falcons fan down in the comment section. And as always, rise up and be cool.